This morning, an update on the consumers out thousands after a local appliance store closed without warning.
And it's going to be a very fall-like start to the week. I'll talk about how cool it could get coming up.
Well, good Sunday morning. Thanks for waking up with us today. I'm your weekend morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Today is Sunday, August 24th. More like September 24th
It's starting
today.
to feel like it. Yeah. It's a little chilly out there.
Yeah, I definitely noticed when I stepped out of my car. Well, in my apartment, my car is parked in a garage. But when I stepped out of the car here, I was like, it's chilly out there. Like,
it is.
Like yesterday, it wasn't too bad in the morning, and then the afternoon, you know, was definitely on the cooler side compared to other afternoons. But right now, definitely a little chilly. Let's take a look at those temperatures. Middle to upper 50s for Dane County. Some areas in the lower 50s, but comparing these temperatures to just 24 hours ago, we're about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. Now, we did see some breezy conditions yesterday as well, which kept the temperatures down. That's going to be the case as well today. Not really seeing that wind yet, but typically the winds do calm down during the overnight hours. And as we get to the afternoon, the winds are going to pick up, and that will cause temperatures to only stay in the upper 60s, at least upper 60s for most of the area. And if we don't hit 70, that'll be the first time since late May for Madison. And this is going to be a similar situation for La Crosse, as high temperatures only in the upper 60s. Plenty of sunshine though, maybe an isolated shower, but otherwise it's going to be very, very dry today. Overall, definitely very comfortable. Just make sure you maybe grab a sweater or something, as it definitely will feel chilly, especially if we do see some breezier conditions. But again, it's going to be a very, very nice one. And for those of you that may look at these temperatures and think, yeah, this is a little cool, it is going to warm up a little bit for the rest of the week. So I'll talk more about that coming up a bit later.
All right, thank you, Jacob. A celebration of culture took over Madison's downtown yesterday. Black on State Street is celebrating its second festival. Our Tanasia Shaw talked to the founder about how the festival promotes inclusivity.
Big part of Black on State Street is celebrating Black culture with everyone. Like dancing, classic line dances, like
Then turn with it. Now break it down.
The big cowboy-themed festival on State Street Saturday is more than a block party. It's a cultural celebration.
We're trying to turn downtown into a hub where Black creators and entrepreneurs feel comfortable coming here. They feel comfortable knowing that they belong in this space. And we're just down here to enjoy ourselves and bring more people downtown.
Ashley Mosberry grew up in Madison, and she's the founder of Black on State. And she said that before creating this event, she didn't have anywhere to celebrate Black culture in Madison.
Everyone is welcome, but we just want people to see a new side of Madison and what we have to offer.
That new side has deep, long history connected to down south.
Folks migrated to up north, you know, so we're really doing our things to like bring the down south culture up north as we did in the Great Migration, you know. It's not gone, it's not as present as it was down south, but it's here.
I'm so happy to see that there is something for us, Black people here in Madison.
In addition to line dancing classes, vendors, food, and music also took over State Street.
I'm very optimistic, but I didn't expect this turnout, especially for my second year. I did not expect for it to be this big. It's a great feeling to have people come through and really enjoy themselves.
When I stayed here in Madison, I didn't see anything like this. We didn't have anything curated for us, Black people in Madison. I didn't see this at all, so I'm just so happy to see, even though I've left, that is something that is going on here.
Reporting in Madison, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
In national news, Kilmar Abrego Garcia faces possible deportation to Uganda after turning down a plea deal that would have sent him to Costa Rica. The agreement required him to stay in jail and plead guilty to human smuggling charges. Instead, Abrego Garcia was released Friday to wait for trial in Maryland with his father after being detained for 160 days. Immigration officials mistakenly deported him to El Salvador earlier this year before a judge ordered his return.
Estoy muy agradecido con toda la gente que me ha estado apoyando desde el día uno.
I'm so grateful for everybody who has been supporting me since day one.
The White House initially refused Abrego Garcia's return, alleging he was a member of the MS-13 gang. El Salvador handed him over in June to face charges in the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi calls him a full-time human smuggler. His wrongful detention became a flashpoint in President Trump's immigration crackdown. The federal government is taking a 10% stake in Intel. President Trump announced the nearly $9 billion investment in the tech company's stock on Truth Social Friday. He called it a win for both sides. The agreement is part of an effort to help boost semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. That's according to Intel. The government will only have a passive ownership in the company, which includes not obtaining a seat on the board. A woman is injured after being attacked by 4 dogs in Watertown. This happened yesterday morning. The Watertown Police Department say the attack happened while the woman was out on a walk near Milford Street and Cobblestone Way just before 6 a.m. Upon arrival, officers located the woman with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. As officers attempted to help her, the dogs chased toward them. Police said, and then an officer fired, striking 1 dog, which later died. The 3 remaining dogs were seized as part of the investigation. The victim was taken to a local hospital, and the investigation is ongoing. Brace yourself. If you are headed to downtown Madison area, brace yourself. UW-Madison is welcoming nearly 9,000 students back to their residence halls, and move-in starts this morning through Wednesday. For the next few days, several streets are shifting to one-way routes near residence halls, and that started just 5 minutes ago. On the east side of campus, Park Street will be northbound only from University to Langdon. Lake Street is northbound only as well from Dayton to Johnson, and Dayton Street is westbound only from Francis to Park. On the west side of campus, Observatory Drive will be westbound only from Charter to Babcock, and Elm Drive north of Observatory will be northbound only. Parking lots near dorms are reserved for unloading zones, and drivers should expect delays. Metro Transit buses will also detour around the congestion. In the Coulee, as students head back to school, road construction near La Crosse is bringing changes to bus routes. The closure of Highway 16 will impact afternoon rides home. The detour could add 5 to 10 minutes to some bus routes, and to help parents stay informed, the district has introduced a new GPS-enabled app called Here Comes the Bus. This real-time tracking system lets parents see the exact location of their child's bus and get accurate arrival times, making it easier to plan. The main disruption will be on the northbound route to Northwoods Elementary School. And heading back to school means it's time for back-to-school pictures, so we wanted to share ours with you. Take a look. Jacob's first.
Oh my God. This is, I know it doesn't look like it. This is a back-to-school photo. This is from 6th grade when as you mentioned, when I showed you the photo, definitely a big Justin Bieber haircut right there. But to be fair, my hair naturally kind of flows in that direction.
All the cool kids had that haircut. And here's me. My mom sent this to me. I'm not sure what grade it is. Maybe, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd. I don't know, maybe even 1st.
That's awesome.
But we also wanted to give you guys a little bit of inspiration to get through the school year. So here is our graduation photos from high school. Jacob and I went to rival high schools, for those of you who don't know.
I went to Oak Lawn Community. You went to Richards, also in Oak Lawn. But yeah, I graduated a year before you, correct?
Yes, you
2017
did.
For me, 2018 for you. My lovely dog also right there.
Yes, I love your dog. This is such an amazing picture. But you guys got it, your kids got this, and we are giving you all the motivation to get through the school year and to graduation. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, I'm sitting down with the Call for Action caseworker for an update on the multitude of cases against Shumway's appliances.
Plus, we're seeing very fall-like temperatures to start the week. Of the full forecast coming up on Weekend Mornings.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Welcome back. Joining me right now is Call for Action volunteer Michelle. Now, you worked the Shumway case, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And now Jalen Banks, one of our reporters, he broke that story with the Kieser family who had gotten their appliances, or paid for them rather, but never received them and were out of money because that store closed. What can you tell us about this? Like, I know we've had more cases since that story broke. How many?
Currently, the Kiesers was the first case that we received. And currently, right now, I have about 14 cases that have come through Call for Action. Most of the individuals have not received any appliances or any of their money back. Right now, the total amount of money is about $45,000. I'm sure it's way more than that, because it's like a whole community that has been affected by this company closing. There was a small group that has filed a filed through small claims.
Yes.
And they did go to court. The judge did give them judgments for Shimway Appliance, but would not file a judgment against the owner, stating that he was filing for bankruptcy and would not be liable. A few of them, I think, are going to take things a little bit further away, with Shimway pretty much saying that they've liquidated everything. You know, they won't see any money anytime soon, which is pretty sad. But the people are just, it's just a sad thing that has happened for this community.
Out thousands of dollars. No word, no say, nothing.
Nothing, other than, you know, in the last week or so before the company closed, it was pretty sad because the owner had individuals pay him with cash or either with a check. You know, which can't be traced. But we encourage individuals to, when you do things like this, use a credit card. Because we have had a few that have been able to file a fraud case or go back to their credit card companies and get some relief of their money.
And dispute that claim.
Right, to dispute the claim. So that's something we really encourage people to do, is when you're making big purchases like this, is to use a credit card.
Okay. That is our lesson for the consumers. Use your credit card because you might be able to dispute it and get your money back. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck in this limbo until we kind of get through those court cases and whatnot.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you.
Up next, Jacob has your weather.
Thanks, Michelle Renee. As we take a look at the 3 things you need to know, very fall-like to start the week with a small chance of rain Thursday, but for the most part, we're going to be staying mostly dry and very pleasant going forward. So looking outside, this is our Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam from Platteville. What you're seeing here is what you're going to see for a lot of this week. Plenty of sunshine, maybe a few clouds here and there, and I do mention a small chance of rain, but for the most part, we're going to see a lot of sunny skies today. Maybe a little bit more cloud cover later in the day, but a good amount of sunshine for the most part, with highs in the upper 60s. Few areas could get to the lower 70s, but for the most part, this will be one of the coolest days we've seen in quite a while. And overnight, clear skies will allow temperatures to possibly drop into the upper 40s, so it may be an even cooler morning tomorrow than what it is right now. And for the daytime on Monday, high temperatures will be very similar, middle to upper 60s, maybe a few lower 70s out there. And we also will see a little bit more sunshine tomorrow compared to today. Now, checking out the chance of rain, we really aren't going to see much, just a few isolated showers at points today, but then once we get to the overnight hours, we'll see more clear skies with almost a 0% chance of rain for your Monday. Overall, as I mentioned, a lot of sunshines in the forecast, but I do want to talk about a little bit of a better chance of rainfall. This will be Wednesday night into Thursday. Still going to be dry for much of Wednesday, pretty much all of Wednesday, I should say, with a few of those showers moving through Wednesday night into Thursday. Could see a few isolated storms, but for the most part, we're just talking about some shower activity, and that will clear up by Friday morning. So just a few passing showers Thursday. And that's about it for rainfall. At least that's about it until potentially Labor Day weekend, but still a bit unclear how much rain we'll see for Labor Day weekend. It looks like it will continue to be fairly dry, and those temperatures very, very comfortable. Obviously, we don't want these conditions to last forever and have drought conditions form, but with how much rainfall we've seen lately, we could definitely afford this break. I mean, really hard to complain about the 10-day forecast. Hard to complain about the weather in general the last couple of days, and that is going to continue going forward.
Now you're saying it's hard to complain, but weren't you just complaining that it was a little warm yesterday for you?
Okay, yeah, I know that's a little silly to think, but when I was in the sun yesterday, I was still a little warm. Now it was in the middle of the afternoon hours and the shade was perfect, but
Jacob likes those cooler temperatures, you guys.
I hate to say it, but yeah, I did get a little warm at times yesterday.
All right, thanks so much. The cost of imported furniture may soon go up even more. President Trump announced in a social media post that his administration will launch an investigation into imported furniture. He says the investigation will take 50 days, and once it's completed, he says he will impose a tariff on imported furniture. He said the rate has yet to be determined. Trump wrote the move would bring the furniture business back to the U.S. Furniture prices have gone up in recent months due to the sweeping global tariffs he imposed earlier this year. More Weekend Mornings is next, but before we head to break, here's a look at your gas prices. We'll be right back.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
In many communities, Miami Beach City Commissioner rainbow crosswalks are a matter of pride. But in Florida, they're now a matter of debate. Florida removes rainbow crosswalks across the state, including one outside Orlando's Pulse nightclub that honored 49 people killed in the 2017 mass shooting. The Florida Department of Transportation erased the same art it once painted, many cities receiving orders to remove the colorful crosswalks. The state cites a new federal directive from the Trump administration to keep intersections free from distractions. Miami Beach City Commissioner Alex Fernandez opposes the removals, noting the irony in the safety argument.
It is in fact safer than some of our other crosswalks on Ocean Drive, and that's the irony here.
It's just a foolish tactic, and it's based on nothing but hatred.
Studies show colorful crosswalk designs actually decrease crashes by more than 50%. Several municipalities are pushing back against the state mandate, including Delray Beach, where commissioners voted to defy the order. Happening today in the 608 is Paulpalooza 2025 in Verona. This is the main fundraising event for Paul's Party. Paulpalooza is a super fun grassroots fundraiser featuring live music, food, drinks, and fundraising at the brewery to remember Paul Natsky. There are several ways to get involved. The event runs 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Wisconsin Brewing Company, so be sure to check that out. And if you are checking it out, don't you worry, Jacob Montesano is here now, and he has got what you can look for as you step out that door.
Yeah, Michelle, Renee, we're going to be seeing very quiet conditions for the most part. The 10-day forecast shows a lot of sunshine and very comfortable temperatures. Upper 60s for today and tomorrow, with overnight lows dropping potentially into the upper 40s. But we are going to see temperatures begin warming up a little bit for the middle of the week. Highs will be back in the middle 70s for Thursday. We are still going to see those temperatures below normal, even when those are in the middle 70s, as the average high is in the upper 70s, with overnight lows in the 50s. And for Labor Day weekend, right now it looks pretty quiet. We do have a small chance of rain, but it doesn't look like we're going to see much. Obviously, that can change a little bit. And even Thursday's rainfall is not expected to be much either. So the story remains quiet, with temperatures a little bit below normal, especially today and tomorrow. A little bit warmer once we head towards the middle of the week. But as I mentioned, those temperatures in the middle 70s are still below normal for this time of the year.
Jacob, thank you. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, we are sitting down with the Call for Action volunteer working very hard to get thousands of dollars back for consumers. How much money she's been able to save consumers so far. And before we head to your break, here is your weekend playlist pick. It's Manic Monday. Take a listen.
It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day.
You might be like the Bengals, and tomorrow you might wish it was today. So make the most of this Sunday while you can, and please send me a weekend playlist pick. I would love to share it with our viewers. You can do that on Facebook or email me at mrquinn@WISC-TV.com. Add playlist pick to the subject line and tune in to hear your song on Weekend Mornings. We're back right after the commercial break, so take out your phone and send that song. Keep it here. See you in a bit. Right now, thousands hit the streets in D.C. protesting federal presence placed by the Trump administration.
And it's going to be a very fall-like start to the week. I'll talk more about it coming up.
Plus, a Madison festival returns for year 2. We'll show you how one woman is creating inclusion downtown. Well, good Sunday morning, and thanks for tuning in to Weekend Mornings. I'm your Weekend Morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Thanks for waking up with us this Sunday, August 24th. As we've been saying all weekend, it's still August, but it's going to feel like it's September out there. Maybe even kind of the early October feels. I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely was very chilly stepping out of my car this morning in the air out there.
It was definitely chilly this morning, but I mean, yesterday and today's temperatures, they're both perfect for outdoor activities. You know, I went flower picking yesterday.
Yeah. Outside of swimming, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be a perfect day. Definitely on the chillier side. You can see that right now with the actual temperatures, mostly in the 50s across the board. 57 in Madison, but a few areas in the lower 50s. Had a few locations in the upper 40s, but it looks like everyone's in the 50s at this point in time. And temperatures compared to 24 hours ago are definitely cooler, about 10 to 15 degrees cooler for a lot of the area. And the afternoon yesterday was definitely below normal. Now, winds right now aren't too bad, but we are going to see those winds pick up a little bit as we head throughout the afternoon. That will keep those temperatures down again today. So a similar forecast, but temperatures just a little bit cooler today. Highs only in the upper 60s. Might be the first day Madison stays in the 60s since May. So we're talking some of the coldest air we've seen in months. And this is going to be a very similar forecast for La Crosse. Plenty of sunshine. Very, very small chance of an isolated shower, but expect dry conditions for most of the day. If it does rain, it will be very light and very brief. And this is going to be the case across the board. Maybe only in the lower 60s for highs further north in central Wisconsin. So overall, as I mentioned, a very fall-like day out there, and temperatures are going to warm up at least a little bit for the rest of the week, but we also will be staying pretty dry. I will talk, though, about a few small chances of rain coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. We begin this morning with a live look now at the Capitol in D.C., where crowds of people are protesting the federal presence. Thousands continue to gather to send a message to the Trump administration. Alexis Wainwright reports.
Well, the crowd is now in the street here along the U Street corridor. I can tell you everyone here says that they are committed to this fight and says they will be at demonstrations every day if they have to make their message clear. A firm message to President Donald Trump.
No matter what you do, you're not going to win. You're not going to defeat us.
Area residents are back on the corner of 14th and U Streets in Northwest, including this woman who lives in Maryland.
Let D.C. run D.C. The president does not need to get involved in this.
They plan to keep showing up until the president ends this federal surge and his takeover of the D.C. Police Department.
We can't stop. We can't stop fighting for justice, because not only are our lives on the line, but it's the young people who I'm really concerned about.
Local activist Leslie Redmond is so concerned she helped the group Guns Down Friday with what they call Know Your Rights sessions in Southeast D.C. to make sure teens are ready if they are stopped by police officers or agents. She captured this moment Friday, several agencies in a Southeast D.C. neighborhood.
The police were swarming in. It was a very targeted environment. However, when I went to my mom's house on Capitol Hill, you could literally hear the crickets. And then they'll use the crime and exploit our pain as a reason to come in and target our communities. And then you think about, yes, our immigrant communities. You think about our homeless communities. You think about all these communities who have historically not been taken care of.
Organizers say that's why these consistent protests are critical.
We understand the importance of staying together.
They're letting the community know this is a safe space.
We have to show them that they are not alone, that they don't fight in isolation, that we fight together, and when we fight, we win. That's the only way we're going to win, and that's the only way we're going to keep each other safe.
This is one thing that I can do to just show up.
Even though Deborah Mallory lives in Maryland, she wanted to be here because she says it's about more than protecting D.C.
I'm really afraid of what is going on in many, many, many different ways.
There's also a youth curfew in effect yet again this weekend. We know many of the people right here behind me are also calling for a cop watch. They will be out on the streets making sure no one's rights are violated. In Northwest, Alexis Wainwright, WUSA 9.
To more top stories this morning, the Texas legislature has given final approval to new congressional maps designed to give Republicans an additional 5 seats in the House of Representatives. That's for the 2026 midterms. Republican Governor Greg Abbott said Saturday morning that he would, quote, swiftly sign the bill into law once it arrived on his desk. President Trump celebrated the vote, calling it, quote, a huge victory for our America First agenda. But Democrats in Texas plan to challenge the legality of the new map, saying it dilutes the voting power of minorities. Meanwhile, California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is now pushing a plan to redraw its own map to favor Democrats as a response. A new poll shows 48% of Californians back Governor Newsom's plan to redraw the maps. 32% oppose it, with 20% undecided. Now to more local news this morning. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders rallied Democratic voters in Viroqua yesterday. Sanders campaigned for Rebecca Cook, who challenges Republican Congressman Derek Van Orden in the 3rd Congressional District. The senator urged the crowd to fight for progressive values rather than simply opposing Republicans. Sanders and Cook focused on income inequality, government spending, and corporate power. Madison's downtown State Street transformed into a celebration of Black culture yesterday. The Black on State Street Festival returned for its second year, drawing hundreds to experience line dancing, food, and music. Founder Ashley Moses grew up in Madison and says before she created this event, she didn't have anywhere to see the celebration of Black culture in Madison.
Everyone is welcome, but we just want people to see a new side of Madison and what we have to offer. We're trying to turn downtown into a hub where Black creatives and entrepreneurs feel comfortable coming here. They feel comfortable knowing that they belong in this space. And we're just down here to enjoy ourselves and bring more people downtown.
Moses wants everyone to be able to appreciate Black culture, not only during the festival, but 365 days a year.
And for your morning motivational this morning, we are going to have a quote from Warren Buffett. It was actually sent to us in a company-wide email from our general manager.
And I did choose it today because I want to help motivate you all to find your passion. So this quote is, without passion, you don't have energy. Without energy, you have nothing. So for anyone who may have been feeling unmotivated or down in the dumps lately, here's your motivation to reignite your passion.
And I think a few people might take the weather as their motivation today. Very nice overall.
And coming up next, we have Kyrian Lee joining us with Dr. Rupa Shah, sharing tips to keep your kiddos healthy this back-to-school season.
And I'll talk more about the forecast for the upcoming week after the break.
You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Happening today in La Crosse, it's the last day of the Great River Folk Festival, bringing together local talent and headliners. Since 1976, the Great River Folk Festival celebrates folk artists in the Driftless region, including music, dance, original artwork, crafts, and performance. Today, you can grab your family and friends to enjoy live music and food trucks.
Why not come here, hang out for a bit, support local, support these awesome musicians, support the food trucks that are really good.
Today's performances are free to the public, and meteorologist Jacob Montesano is live from our studio in Madison, and he can tell you what you need to know if you think you're going to head out today.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice day, definitely on the chillier side, but during those afternoon hours with the sun shining, it will feel very nice. Upper 60s for today and tomorrow, lower 70s then for Tuesday, Wednesday. We will get in the middle 70s for the middle of the week, but we're still talking about temperatures below normal. Notice the average high is in the upper 70s, and we'll be pretty dry during this period as well. Could see some rain Wednesday night into Thursday, but overall, we're not expecting too much. So looking overall at the rain chances that we are going to have, or the amount of rain that we're going to see for the next 7 days, some areas will barely see 1/10 of an inch of rain, if that. So dry conditions for the most part are really going to continue, and it's going to cause those humidity levels to get to lower, and so we'll have some fairly dry air. And looking at the muggy meter, some of the days in the next 7 days aren't even showing up on this, so it's really going to feel very comfortable with that dry air and obviously the sunshine. So very nice over the next 10 days.
Jacob, that is my kind of muggy meter. Thank you very much. As we prepare you to head back to school, we want you to be as healthy as possible. Our Kyrian Lee joins us for this morning's health conversation with Dr. Rupa Shah.
We're headed into the new school year, so this is a great time to make sure your kiddos are fully immunized. Dr. Rupa Shah, a family medicine physician and wellness coach at SSM Health, joins us now to talk about protecting kids from serious illness by making sure they're getting the recommended vaccines. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So it is that time of year already. Yes. So can you tell us about why the timing of vaccines are so important?
Yeah, so the vaccines are really designed to work with how children's immune system responds at various ages throughout their life, but also based on how likely they are to be exposed to certain viruses and such throughout their age group. So for instance, younger children are more susceptible to pertussis, which is whooping cough. So that vaccine comes earlier in the vaccine schedule, whereas meningitis and such is a later disease, more of adolescence, so that vaccine is a bit later. And then again, when kids go off to college, they're getting vaccinated again for meningitis. So there is kind of a rhyme and reason to why the vaccine schedule is developed as such.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we've heard a lot about measles cases nationally and then recently here in Wisconsin. Is that something that, parents and families should be concerned about?
Yeah. So measles, mumps, rubella, rubella, chickenpox, all of these viruses do have the potential to create very serious health consequences for children, including hospitalization and even death. So they're very, very important to get vaccinated and get your kids immunized against these. And the problem with these viruses is that, for instance, like chickenpox or measles, the contagious episode is really before the rash or symptoms even presents itself. So kids may be going to school, exposing all of their classmates, and then those children can get sick if they're not immunized, and then spreading it out to the community. So again, the most, the best way to protect our kids is to get them vaccinated before they start school, when they're back in their classrooms in small settings like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in addition to consulting with your provider, how can you find out about the vaccines your kids have already gotten? I know there's always a long list.
Yes, yes. And I actually had to use this year before my daughter left for school too. But there's a Wisconsin Immunization Registry. It's called WIR, W-I-R, and anyone can access this. And it's basically a database for all vaccines for adults and children in the state of Wisconsin. So you can go on there and see when your children were last immunized, get all the dates, or even for yourself. Because again, preventing these diseases is the most important for our community's health.
All right, back to school season almost here.
Yeah, that's right.
Dr. Shaw, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Time now, 7:42. Still ahead, a weekend of honoring Bob Uecker at AmFam Field. Plus, Jacob brings you the final forecast when we come back. You're watching Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. Fall-like temperatures to start the week with a small chance of rain Thursday, but beyond that, we're really going to be staying mostly dry for the foreseeable future. Now, the reason we're going to see those fall-like temperatures today, or at least a big reason for that, is the fact that we're going to have some northwesterly winds keeping those temperatures down. Not going to be too breezy, but they'll be gusting up around 20 to 25 miles per hour, calming down for the overnight hours and then picking back up a little bit for Monday, which will also keep those temperatures down. And then Tuesday, it's not going to be as windy, which will help the temperatures get back into the 70s, but they're still going to remain below normal. Now, looking at the rainfall forecast, today will feature partly to mostly sunny skies with a very, very small chance of an isolated shower. Otherwise, it's going to be very dry today with clear skies overnight and almost a 0% chance of rain for your Monday. But even today, there's a very, very low chance of rain as well. So overall, definitely get out and enjoy the weather. Definitely bring a little sweater, though, as it could get chilly at times. Now, I do want to point out the better chance of rain that will come later in the week. Starting Wednesday morning, not really going to see much. Excuse me, let me go back. Starting Wednesday morning, not really going to see much. Just a few on and off clouds. And then as we get towards Wednesday night, we'll see some showers, maybe a few isolated thunderstorms move into the area for Thursday. And then throughout the day on Thursday, we will see some passing showers. But even this rain is not expected to amount to much, and we'll see dry conditions by Friday. So here's a look at the 10-day forecast. Only really is Thursday will really be the only chance of rain, at least the only good chance of rainfall. A few small chances of rain once we head towards Labor Day weekend. And temperatures will warm up after Monday, but still remaining below normal. The average high for this time of year is in the upper 70s, and even the warmest days will only be in the middle 70s. So overall, it's a very nice 10-day forecast, especially in those afternoon hours with the sun shining. It will feel very nice. So you have plenty of time to enjoy the outdoor weather. Labor Day weekend looking very, very good.
The Milwaukee Brewers lost a member of their family this past offseason, Bob Uecker, the homegrown hero that went from player to broadcaster to legend. The Brewers have dedicated this entire weekend at AmFam Field to celebrating his amazing life and impact. CBS Milwaukee's Lance Allen caught up with Uecker's longtime friend and broadcast titan, Bob Costas, to discuss what he meant to the team.
I'll root for the Brewers.
From Bob to Bob.
We were very friendly, very close.
Bob Costas couldn't be more honored to be the master of ceremonies for the Uecker Celebration of Life ceremony before Sunday's Brewers game at American Family Field.
Well, Milwaukee obviously meant everything to him because he could have left. He was a big national star. He could have left, and he stayed. Wisconsin was where he was born and raised. It's where his career began as a player with the Milwaukee Braves. And it's where his more than half-century career as a Hall of Fame baseball announcer played out. What he meant to Milwaukee, I think it's fair to say this. Even Hall of Famers like Robin Yount and Paul Molitor or Ted Simmons would say that Ueck was the biggest star on the team.
Costas and Euchre spent time in the NBC booth calling games together. Yet this Bob loves a story even before his time with the legendary Howard Cosell.
And Euchre is listening to Howard suggest some kind of strategy that made no baseball sense. And Euchre tries to gently, if not correct him, then differ with him. And Cosell persists, and Euchre differs with him again. And then Cosell says, Euchre, you're awfully truculent tonight. You do know what truculent means, don't you? And without missing a beat, Euchre says, of course I do, Howard. If you had a truck and I borrowed it, then that would be a truck you lent. Very, very rarely was Howard Cosell ever flabbergasted. That was one instance when he was. He had no comeback.
I don't mind being soaked, but I got to drink some too. That's the bottom line.
Euchre was one of the funniest people they have ever been around, and that he had the timing and delivery of a professional comedian.
Which means there was no one like Mr. Baseball.
You've been around a lot of famous people. How one of a kind was he?
Completely one of a kind. One of a kind and the word unique, they're thrown around carelessly. They don't always apply. But Euchre was a great broadcaster, yes, and a great public personality in terms of being an entertainer. Think of the Major League movies. It's impossible to get to everything about the rich life he had.
It is nothing new for the Brewers to lose their stars players to free agency, but when Willy Adames left for the San Francisco Giants, it just stung a little bit more. The shortstop was a fan favorite and a face of the organization, an organization that, simply put, wasn't willing to pay him anywhere close to what he's worth. But last night was a cause for celebration when Willy Adames returned to AmFam Field for the first time since leaving Milwaukee. On the very first pitch that he saw, he sent it out the park for a home run, throwing up a heart to his former home crowd. Willie spoke about the love he still has for the fan base and for Brewer legend Bob Euchre.
I have a lot of great memories here, and being here this special weekend, it means even more. But obviously, it feels the same. It feels like I never left. Went into Murphy's office while he was having a meeting with the front office people when I opened the door. And, hey, how you guys doing? And they were just laughing. But they were happy. It seems like they were happy to see me, and I was happy to see them too. I feel like even the first year I got here, they welcomed me like I was part of them. Like I came up with the lead with the team, and they embraced me since day one. They gave me love since day one, and they never stopped doing it. Even when I had a bad year in 23, they still loved me. They still gave me love and still supported me.
And the Pack was back at Lambeau looking to close out the preseason strong against the Seattle Seahawks. We start halfway through the first. Quarterback Malik Willis drops and lets it fly to first-round draft pick Matthew Golden, hopefully just a sneak peek of what's to come. Later in the drive, Malik Willis will find a more familiar name. Romeo Doubs catches the slant for a touchdown. Pack go up 7-0. Just a few plays later, Seahawks quarterback Jalen Milroe drops back, and he's going to get sacked on this one. Ball comes out, and the Pack recover. The Packers forced 4 fumbles on the day. We head to the second quarter now. 3rd and goal, Taylor Elgersma with the hard play action. Elgersma finds fellow rookie Will Shepard for the 3-yard score. The Pack would not look back from there. They go on to win it 20-7 in dominating fashion.
We are less than 1 week away from the Badgers kicking off their 2025 season, and Eric Franke and Andrew Banstar, sports director, will get you ready for it. We're hosting Wisconsin Game Day live from the UW Fieldhouse at 6:30 next Thursday, getting you ready for the game and, of course, breaking down the X's and O's. And still ahead on Weekend Mornings is the song that will remind you to be grateful for today. That's your weekend playlist pick. Send those in to me at Mr. Quinn at WISC-TV.com with the subject playlist pick, and tune in to hear it play on Weekend Mornings. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Finally this morning is your weekend playlist pick.
This is Manic Monday by the Bangles. Take a listen.
It's just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my
Tomorrow you might wish it was today, so make the most of this Sunday while you can. Thanks for watching Weekend Mornings. Coming up next is CBS Sunday Morning, followed by Face the Nation and For the Record. Our next newscast is coming up at 5:30 p.m.